I call this meeting of the Sioux Falls Planning Commission to order. Thank you for all attending our meeting tonight. Out of courtesy, please everyone silence your electronic devices. We are looking forward to hearing everyone's input tonight. In order to allow adequate time for everyone, please limit to a single 5-minute period to share your thoughts. Please focus on new testimony, not already shared. Out of respect for their preparation time spent in advance, our agenda will begin with those items that citizen property owners have been preparing for and our consideration, along with related input. Public testimony related to each item will be heard after that item has been announced, as described in the recorded introduction. Public input on non-agenda items will be welcomed after the entire agenda of prepared items has been acted upon. Public input will also be limited to a single 5-minute period per person, limited to a maximum of 20 minutes. Since the Sioux Falls Planning Commission is a land use board, we ask that your comments be focused on related subjects to our jurisdiction. The Commission will listen to the input, but will not respond directly to the input during the meeting. First on the agenda is our consent item, or agenda. Denise?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair. Item 1 is approval of the June 6 minutes of the regular meeting. Item 2, June plats. Item 3, 8684 2018, rezone from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District to the S1 General Institutional District for allowed forms at 401 South Joliet Avenue. Item 4, 8685 2018, rezone from the RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density District to the CN Conservation District for allowed forms located at the southeast corner of East 6th Street and North Cleveland Avenue. Item 5, 8686 2018, rezone from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the CN Conservation District for allowed forms located west of Southeastern Avenue and East 41st Street. Item 6, 8689 2018, rezone from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the CN Conservation District for allowed forms located at the southeast corner of North Bonson Avenue and East Broken Arrow Street. Item 7, 8690 2018, rezone from the MH Manufactured Residential Housing and C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar Districts to the CN Conservation District for allowed forms located at the northwest corner of South Highline Avenue and East Arrowhead Parkway. Item 8, 8691 2018, rezone from the CN Conservation District to the Recreation District for allowed forms located north of East 69th Street and west of South Greystone Avenue. Item 9, 8720 2018, rezone from the RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density District to the RS Single Family Residential Suburban and RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban Districts for allowed forms located at North Nob Hill Court. Item 10, 8743 2018, rezone from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District for allowed forms located at 1246 East 21st Street.
Is there any commission members that want to move anything off the consent agenda to the regular agenda? Anyone from the public that would like to move any items from 1 through 10 to the regular agenda? No? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor say, or any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. Passes. If you're representing the items 1 through 10, you're free to leave, but you're welcome to stay also. Next on our agenda is approving our regular agenda. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, move to approve the regular agenda.
Any discussion?
Second.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
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 All those opposed say no. It passes. Denise?
Item 11, 8687, 2018, rezone from the C3 Commercial Community District to the CN Conservation District for allowed forms located at the northwest corner of South Westport Avenue and West 10th Street.
Hi, my name is Maggie Squire. I live at 757 South 3rd Avenue. I'm representing the Planning and Building Services. The owner of this property is the City of Sioux Falls. They're proposing to rezone 4.6 acres from the C3 Commercial Community District to the CN Conservation District for an existing city-owned natural drainage facility for a detention pond. It's located northwest of Westport Avenue and north of West 10th Street. The proposed zoning meets the Shape Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan. The existing detention pond provides stormwater drainage for the area. If the rezoning of this property is approved, then the current detention pond use for the property will match the zoning. And if the rezoning is denied, the parcels will continue to be zoned C3 Commercial Community, which does not allow natural drainage facilities as the principal use. So because the subject application is consistent with the Shape Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan, the staff recommends approval of this rezoning. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair? Maggie, question for you. It looks like kind of, if you go north of this property, it's a continuation of that drainage area, so, and it's currently zoned I-1, I think. Is that something we might see in the future, a rezoning of that property as well?
Since the city has interns this summer, our job will be to possibly in the next 2 months rezone more properties that have similar uses, so it's possible.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. Anyone else that would like to address this item? Not seeing anyone.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve item 11.
Second.
We got approval in a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, Maggie, thank you for all your work. I assume that you worked on the other items on the consent agenda, and on behalf of the Planning Commission, we appreciate your work to clean up these zoning issues. Thank you.
Well, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no. Item passes. Denise?
Item 12, 8731, 2018, rezone from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood Streetcar District to the C3 Commercial Community District for allowed forms located at 7201 South Cliff Avenue.
Jason Bieber representing Planning and Building Services. This is an application by Joel Engel with C. Lemmy Companies. It's located north of West 85th Street and west of South Cliff Avenue. The applicant is proposing to rezone roughly 3.1 acres to the C3 Commercial Zoning District to construct a roughly 32,000 square foot indoor recreation facility. The RE4 form would allow this applicant to construct an indoor recreation facility at a maximum size of 75,000 square feet. The proposed zoning generally meets the Shape Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan designation of a neighborhood employment center at the intersection of 85th and Cliff Avenue. Typically, this designation allows a maximum of C2 commercial zoning, which are buildings, retail buildings of up to 25,000 square feet. However, staff feels that this proposed 32,000 square foot indoor recreation facility still meets the intent of the neighborhood employment center designation and does support the rezoning. However, staff feels that the RE4 form should be limited to a maximum size of 35,000 square feet to better fit into the existing neighborhood and comply with the Shape Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan. If the rezoning of this property is approved, the applicant can construct an indoor recreation facility of up to 35,000 square feet. If this rezoning is denied, they can still construct an indoor recreation facility. However, it only can be a maximum height of 35 feet, and it would only be able to be as big as 25,000 square feet. Because the subject application is generally consistent with the Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan, staff does recommend approval of this rezoning with the following condition. A maximum building size in the RE4 form to be limited to 35,000 square feet. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commission have any questions?
Mr. Chair, Jason, what would be then the new maximum height for a C3 facility?
Yep, the RE4 form would allow them to go up to 45 feet and 3 stories. So they could go 3 stories, 45 feet with a approved condition, a maximum size of 35,000 square feet then.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jason. Anyone from the public like to address this item? Or the petitioner come up and address the item? Sorry, Joe.
Joel Engel, 5735 East 41st Street. As Jason said, the request to rezone to C3 is simply to allow the larger size building. The proposed use is a gymnastics center. They're proposing a 32,000 plus or minus square foot building. I believe if you look at the drawings, I believe right now the design, the current maximum height of the building on the front parapet is right at about 32 feet. So it would still fall within that C2 standard, which the surrounding area is. So I don't have anything else to add, but if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Chair, and you're okay with the 35,000 square foot max
Absolutely.
condition?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to address this item? I'll look for commission action.
Mr. Chair, move to approve item number 12.
With the condition?
With the condition, yes.
Second.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Item passes. Denise?
Item 13, 8749, 2018, rezoned from the AG Agricultural District to the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District, allowed forms located at the southeast corner of West 95th Street and South Louise Avenue.
The applicant here is Ron Nelson. They are looking at rezoning roughly 18 acres from the AG Agricultural District to the RS Single Family Residential District to construct a future place of worship. The proposed church will be required the 25-foot and 20-foot front yard setbacks off of South Louise Avenue and West 95th Street. The parking will be a one space for every 4 seats in the main auditorium. They will be required a level B buffer yard along the north and east property lines. This buffer yard will include a 15-foot setback, 2-foot berm or 4-foot fence, and 30 units of landscaping per 100 lineal feet. The proposed zoning meets the Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan. The proposed church will provide a good buffer from the arterial street of South Louise Avenue and to the existing homes to the east. If the rezoning is approved, the applicant can construct a future church. If the rezoning is denied, the area will continue to be rezoned agricultural and allow crop and animal production. Because the subject application is consistent with the Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan, staff does recommend approval of this rezoning. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Jason. You guys have any questions?
Mr. Chair? Jason, so is the church an allowed use in this, or they would have to come back with a conditional use permit?
Nope, the church would be in the RS zoning district. They do allow what we call an NF1 form, neighborhood facilities. This church would be allowed in that NF1 form, maximum of, I believe, 2 stories and 35 feet high, so they would not have to come back.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Jason. Is the petitioner here?
Good evening, Ron Nelson, 3308 South Kiwanis. Just here for your questions. Jeff explained it pretty well, I think.
Commissioners have any questions?
Mr. Chair, I have a question. What's the plan for residential subsequently?
Pertaining to on our site, we have no plans.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only for that church facility.
All right.
We'd probably develop the front third, about 7 acres as shown on that site plan, and retain the rest for future growth.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thanks. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address this item? Seeing nobody. Look for the commission.
Mr. Chair, move to approve item number 13.
Second.
So we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, as I look at these, they're rezoned, so it's whatever their plan might be, it's rezoned into single family, which is, does single family zoning sit well next to single family zoning? I would say yes.
Okay. So no more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Denise?
Item 14, 8561-2018, conditional use permit for an on-sale alcoholic beverage establishment located within 500 feet of a sensitive land use located at 1821 West 12th Street, Suite D.
The applicant here is Ricky McKinney. The applicant is proposing to remodel a second tenant space in this existing building for its second casino. This multi-tenant building already has one existing on-sale alcoholic beverage establishment located next door. The proposed on-sale alcoholic beverage establishment meets the criteria of the comprehensive plan. This is an existing arterial corridor with commercial uses. There's an existing casino adjacent to the newly proposed casino on this property for some time. Lighting of the structure and soundproofing of the property are items to be considered during this public hearing. The parking is on site, and an approved security management plan is required before the alcohol license can be approved by City Council. Because the subject application has provided clarity to indicate the nature, location, and extent of the work proposed, staff does recommend approval. I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Any questions? You. Is the petitioner here?
Hello, Rick McKinney, 4101 South Klein, Sioux Falls.
Anything else that you'd like to say?
No, sir.
Okay. Any questions for Ricky? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Anyone else that would like to address this item? I'll look for commission action.
Mr. Chair, move to approve item number 14.
Second.
So we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, since there is an existing casino next door and I would approve this item.
Thank you.
I would agree with that, Mr. Chair. I think the barrier to the south to the residential in this particular instance is there's a very distinct barrier there. It makes sense.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes.
Item 15, 8555-2018, alternative site plan for an alternative buffer yard plan located at the northwest corner of West 41st Street and South Sertoma Avenue.
The applicant here is Caleb Veldhaus. The applicant is proposing to provide the required buffer yard with the existing 2-foot berm and existing mature evergreen trees in lieu of the required 6-foot fence along that north property line. The retail center has the required 10-foot front yard setbacks along South Sertoma Avenue. The strip center is required a level C buffer yard along the north property line, which includes a 30-foot setback to the building, 20 feet for a parking lot, 4-foot berm or 6-foot fence, and 40 units of landscaping per 100 lineal feet. The submitted landscape plan indicates the required setbacks for the building and parking lot. Further, the site has an existing 2-foot berm, and 4 foot is required, and 16 mature evergreen trees along that north property line. Finally, the site plan has required 139 landscape units, and the applicant is providing 258 in the form of the existing evergreen trees and also 18 bushes kind of blocking those north parking spaces. The submitted landscape and buffer yard plan meets the intent of the zoning ordinance. If the applicant were to increase the size of the berm from 2 feet to 4 feet, they would need to remove these existing mature evergreen trees along that north property line. Finally, the applicant has provided significantly more landscape units, 250, than the required 139. Because the subject application meets the intent of the Level C buffer yard requirements within the Sioux Falls zoning ordinance, staff does recommend approval of this application. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Jason. Any questions for Jason? Thank you. Is the petitioner here?
Caleb Veldhouse, 3824 South Slayton Park Drive. I don't have any additional comments, but can answer some questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else like to address this item? Look for commission action.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve item 15.
Second.
So we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair? It makes a lot of sense to not tear down trees, to add 2 feet to a berm, to leave the big trees right there. I think that's a good way to do it.
Mr. Chair, well said. I agree with Commissioner Sershin.
Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no. Motion passes.
Item 16 is public input on non-agenda items.
Let's see here. So now at this point, the commission welcomes public input on non-agenda items. Public input is limited to a single 5-minute period per person and limited to a maximum of 20 minutes. Since the Sioux Falls Planning Commission is a land use board, we ask the comments be related to subjects in our jurisdiction. The commission will listen to the input, but will not respond directly to the input during the meeting. Come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Anyone like to address the commission? All right.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We adjourn. Thank you.